A very good morning, dear students. Let us start our social science class. Dear students, today let us continue chapter 11, Natural Disasters. And you know what is the natural disasters? The natural disasters are the natural activities and it is causing the loss of life of the people and the environment and the property. This is called the natural disasters. When the natural disasters it is taking place, we know it is destroying or it is losing the people's life and the property all it is destroying and the environment also it is destroying or it is losing. So it is called the natural disasters. And we have seen some examples for the natural disasters that are the earthquake, flood, cyclone, tsunami, droughts. These are some examples we can see for the natural disasters. And also in previous class we discussed about the earthquake. What is the earthquake? The earthquake it is a sudden vibration or the shaking of the earth's surface. It is called the earthquake. When the suddenly when it is vibrating the earth's surface, it is vibrating or shaking. That is called the earthquake. And we know when the earthquake it is taking place, it is destroying all the places and all the property and all the people's lives and all it is destroying. So that is called the earthquake. And again we have seen the tsunami. This also the this also a type of earthquake. It is taking place under the sea or the ocean. That is called the tsunami. And in today's class, let us discuss what is the flood. What is the flood? The flood is an overflowing of water and which submerges the land. The water it is overflowing to the land and we can see the land, the buildings and all it will cover with the water. That is called the flood. And maybe in some news and the TV and all you have seen in some places when the flood it is taking place. That time you may see that things and also the flood it is the overflowing of water which submerges the land. That is called the flood. And we can say that the flood it is the most common natural disasters. The most common natural disasters it is the flood. And again we can see the flood means it is the we know the water it will be in the lakes and the river it will be covered with the water and from the usual boundaries when it is overflowing maybe when it is raining time and all maybe the water it will be in the lakes and the river it will be in the from the usual boundaries. When it is from there it is overflowing to the land it is called the flood. And we can see it is happening when it is overflowing from the lake and the river and when it is happening when the area receives the excessive rainfall or when a great quantity of the snow melt and increasing the water level in the water bodies. And when it is happening we can say that when the rainfall when the more rain it is falling down and we can see the when the great boundary of the snow it is melting, that time also more water it is getting and it is overflowing from the river and all. And also we can say the increasing the water level in the water bodies. When the water bodies and all the increasing the water it is the level it is increasing because of the rain and all it is increasing. Then also the flood it is taking place. The water it will overflow through land. And the flood can also be caused due to the landslides and the strong tides, storms at sea, cyclone and the tsunamis. And when the flood it is causing, we can say because of the landslides. The landslides means it is the land it is breaking and coming out the water, and the strong tides. The strong tides means we can see from the sea and all the waves it is coming out. Sometimes in the sea the big waves it is coming out and it is called the storm tides. And the storm at the sea, the storms at the sea we can see when the strong wind it is taking place in the sea and all it is coming, the waves it is coming into the land and it is taking place the flood. And we can say that through cyclone and the tsunamis and all, through this all it is causing the flood. And again we can see sometimes the stagnant flood water causes an outbreak of diseases. And when the water it is staying in one place in the land, maybe the water it will be staying there. So we can say that the mosquitoes it will come there and we will get the diseases and all, and they may spread rapidly, taking the shape of the epidemic, and we will get, it is spreading the epidemic, the diseases it is spreading through all the people. So it is saying about the flood. Mainly we are saying what is the flood. The flood, it is a overflowing of the water which submerges the land, that is called the flood. And we can see the safety measures of the flood. And before flood, what are the things we have to take place, and after the flood also, what are the during the flood also, what are the things we can take place, we can see. And before flood, we can see the first, one should know how to reach the nearest safe shelter. And we know if we are living near to the riverside or the lakeside and all, we know maybe the flood it will come, means we have to know the nearest safe shelters, maybe that we have to know. And secondly, in rural areas, the elevated areas should be identified. Maybe if you are in the rural areas and all, we have to identify the elevated areas, means the higher places. We have to identify the higher areas. And thirdly, we can say the first aid kit with important medications should be kept ready, and we should keep the first aid kit. And fourthly, we can say in flood prone areas, we know the flood prone areas, maybe the near to the lakes or the near to the river or the near to the seas and all, maybe it may take place the flood. So that are the flood prone areas, and an emergency kit with the strong ropes for tying things. We have to keep the emergency kit, including that the ropes it is for tying the things, and a radio, torch and spare batteries, stocks of the fresh water, dry food, salt and sugar, kerosene, canteen and matchboxes, waterproof bags to store clothing and valuables, and the umbrellas and bamboo sticks should be kept ready at home. And in these areas, the flood prone areas, we should keep all the things with us. And again we can see the trees should be planted as they form the natural barriers against the water. We have to grow the plants, because if we are planting the plants and all, it is from forming the natural barriers against the water and all. And again we can see in the flood prone areas, the channels should be created and maintained in working conditions at the time, so that the excess water can be drained off. And if we know the flood prone areas, there we have to keep the channels, and from there the drain water, the drain water it will flow, and we can save or we can take place the flood. It is the safety measure of the flood. And during the flood, what are the things we have to take place? We can see warning related to flood are regularly broadcast on the radio and relayed on TV. People should watch out for all such news reports. And in that time, during the flood time, we will get the warnings related to the flood areas and all. So we have to watch the TV, and we have to hear the news, and we have to do according to that. And secondly, we can see all electrical applicants should be kept switched off during a flood. During the flood time, what we have to do? We have to switch off all the electrical appliances. And thirdly, we can see one should move to upper levels of the buildings and wait to be evacuated, and one should not try to walk through the flood water. And when the flood it is taking place, we have to go to the upper level of the buildings. We have to go to the upper level of the buildings, and we should not try to wade through the flood water. We should not go, or we should not go to the flood water. So these are the things we have to take place during the flood, and these are the safety measures we have seen. And the cyclone and the clouds we will discuss in the next class.